We live in a society today where bullying, unfortunately, is often on display, whether it's in person, online, or unfortunately, as we saw last week, even coming from the President of the United States. In a debate, I guess if you could call it that, we saw textbook bullying behaviors in the midst of that debate. And so it's really critical now more than ever that we reaffirm our commitment here in Montgomery County and on the council to breaking that cycle of bullying and showing our children and adults that this kind of behavior is not acceptable in any form. Not only is it not acceptable, it has numerous negative impacts on our society, on the victims themselves, and on the actual bullies. And it's up to us, for all of us, to model appropriate behaviors to build a better and a kinder future. One of the things I'm most proud of is that this council, even though we don't always agree, and we're not going to agree today, for example, on many things, we are kind, we're respectful, and we do our best to not bully. And when we do mess up, we apologize. And that's something that I think is really important. So I'm going to, if Councilmember Rice, I don't know if he's here yet, but maybe he's on his way. He's on the phone.
Yeah, he's on the phone.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm on the line.
Okay, so you want to chime in, and then we can let Craig say something, and then we can read the proclamation. Does that work?
The other Craig say something.
Yes,
absolutely.
Craig Rice. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, and
yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jawando. Thank you very much, Council President, and thank you to Mr. Simon, the Vice Chair of the Committee Against Hate and Violence. Let me just say again and reiterate what Councilmember Jawando said. Bullying is not something to be tolerated, accepted, lifted up, as we've seen, unfortunately, in recent years, and think that somehow is a statement of power, that somehow is a statement of you being better than someone else. In fact, it's all of the exact opposites. And it was in 2008 as a state delegate that I actually sponsored bullying prevention legislation that fortunately was signed by the governor and became law. That mandated that in our schools we have bullying policies that protect our students against this kind of hateful rhetoric. And we also know that the mental health of our children is at stake with what we're talking about here in terms of ensuring that our children can go to school and not have to worry about what somebody's saying about them and their how they feel about themselves and their bodies and their choices that they make. All of those things should be protected. And so from that perspective, look, this is a no-brainer. When we've had our teen town halls, every single one of them have had numerous students who have talked about the concerns of bullying and the effects that it has on them. And so we know that this isn't just something that affects our kids. This is something that affects all of us. All you have to do is take one trip down Twitter lane and you'll see the bullying that constantly exists from people who weren't checked as children and who now have become adult bullies. It's very clear and apparent. And so from that perspective, we owe it to our society, to our community, to do a much better job of ensuring that people understand bullying should not be tolerated in our community. So I really want to thank everyone for all of their great work. The Committee Against Hate and Violence, our Office of Human Rights, all the stakeholders, our Montgomery County Council of PTAs and others who continue to push for this each and every day to ensure that our community becomes a more welcoming place, a more just and peaceful place. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Councilmember Jawando.
Thank you, Councilmember Rice. Mr. Simon, do you want to say a few words on behalf of your committee?
Yes, please. Thank you. Just before, I borrowed these from my daughter. So good morning, members of the council. My name is Craig Simon. I'm vice chair of the Committee Against State Violence. I'm joined today by committee members Pablo Blank and Director Jim Stowe with the Office of Human Rights. As representatives from Montgomery County Committee Against State Violence, I'd like to express our thanks to the county council and county executive leadership for their roles in fighting all forms of hate, violence, and bullying. As many of you are aware, bullying takes on many different forms. Many stem from threats being sent to people simply because they are perceived as being different. We know that it is the uniqueness of each person that makes our community special. Thank you, Councilmember Rice and Councilmember Jawando and all members of the council for this proclamation and helping to lead the fight against bullying. Whether it is moving away from victim blaming or educating others about the negative impacts of bullying, we know the county is moving in the right direction. At a time when the country is seeing an increase in hate activities and hate groups feel empowered to act, the need for greater community awareness and education on bullying prevention, mitigation, and other acts of hate and intimidation are even more important. We intend to plan a series of county-wide campaigns, community forums, and town hall meetings to educate the community in the near future. We will be seeking the council's participation and funding support for these special efforts. The Committee Against Hate Violence looks forward to continuing our work with the Council, MCPD, and MCPS and making Montgomery County a welcoming place for everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. Simon, and thank you for all your work. We'll read the proclamation. Councilmember Rice, are you in a position to read to go back and forth, or do you need me to read the entire proclamation?
No, it'd probably be better if you read it.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to cause any accidents here. All right. So I will read this proclamation on behalf of both of us, but also the entire council. Whereas for almost a decade, October has been recognized as National Bullying Prevention Month, a time when we recognize the myriad of short and long-term detrimental effects of bullying, including a loss of self-esteem, increased anxiety and depression, and increased drug and alcohol abuse. And whereas bullying is any type of physical, verbal, or emotional harm or intimidation directed at an individual or a group of people that can occur anywhere in our neighborhoods, schools, playgrounds, and through technology, such as the internet and cell phones. And whereas bullying can have negative impacts on the emotional, mental, and physical health that can stay with victims for decades and can lead to long-term academic challenges, difficulty maintaining friendships or relationships, and self-destructive behavior. And whereas it will take a concerted effort, and I'm really glad to hear, Mr. Simon, your plans for the committee. It will take a concerted effort from all members of our community to stomp out bullying and build an inclusive society for all of our residents by putting victims first and expanding educational efforts to put an end to all forms of bullying. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes October as National Bullying Prevention Month, presented on this day, the 6th of October in the year 2020, signed by Councilmember Rice, myself, and the Council President Katz on behalf of all of us. So congratulations, and thank you for all the work that you're doing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, and thank you to Will and both Craigs for all of your hard work on this. You know, it's been noted many times, and it needs to be noted many more times, that bullying is not ever acceptable. And if someone, you know, the expression, if you see something, say something. If someone is being bullied, they need to say something to one of us or to their teachers or whoever, their parents, whoever it is, so that we can help correct that the bullying will not continue. It is never acceptable, and we will stand together to make certain that it does not continue. So thank you very much for all of your hard work.